I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us here on Featured. We hope to inspire or simply make you smile with some uplifting stories across the country. Now, we are all living in a digital world, but a woman from St. Louis is showing us that print will never go out of style. As Michelle Lee explained, she is blazing a path with a paper trail that's growing across the country.
Signed and sealed. From women who always deliver.
I am Cherie Berry. I'm oftentimes confused as being known as Sherry Berry, but pronunciation jokes aside, I am the CEO and creative director of Cherie Berry Paper and Design. And we are a graphic design firm and custom stationery company based here in St. Louis.
And no joke,
because I would love to have the room come to life in the card.
This hometown girl is the superstar of stationery, creating beautiful handmade treasures.
There is something about the tangibility of these artifacts that are so important to humanity.
Cherie is about style and personal touches, a passion she grew while working with Kate Spade in New York and finding a niche in the company's first ever wedding stationery line. And now Cherie is leading her own firm, helping people create keepsake invitations, cards, or family announcements.
You can't save an email or a digital invitation the way you can save paper. So we just love these little paper treasures that are like tangible artifacts that whether or not you save it it's just fun for the moment or it crosses generations.
We are rooted in print design, but obviously we're in an increasingly digital world. And so what we really try to educate our clients on is really what is the right medium for your moment.
Check on that.
Kristen Armstrong is the company's CFO, navigating a world where digital and print go hand in hand. She's helped launch an online store for everyday stationery for things like thank you cards or school notes.
The product that we produce is luxurious and special, but we want to be able to offer that product to everybody who's local for the right moment.
So if I'm at the doctor's office waiting for a kiddo, to come out, or I've got some time in carpool, I can just pen a quick note because we're filling our time so much with Instagram or social media. So if you thought about it, if you took some time to actually write a note, if you did 1 or 2 a week, that's 1 or 2 a week you weren't doing before.
I love it.
So we do love the idea of like stationery to go.
Cherie Berry is about the moment, finding time to be present and reminding us of that old saying that a letter is practically a gift.
I mean, seeing somebody's handwriting, whether it's beautiful or bad, I think as a representation of that individual, it really, people aren't getting them as much. So now let's bring them back, because if you get a handwritten note, it brightens your day.
I do appreciate a handwritten note and getting some snail mail every now and then. That was Michelle Lee reporting. All right, let's take it over to Minnesota now, where many unique water towers live, from an ear of corn to a fishing bobber. But at least 50 of the water towers are decommissioned. Audrey Russo explains why there is a big push to keep them standing tall, even though they don't work.
Every day at noon and 6.
Predictable as a pattern. The heart of Osseo
It rattles everything.
sits high above its people.
Not everybody's got one in their backyard.
It also rests on the city seal
It's an easy landmark.
and on every lamppost.
Tell people, hey, I live by the Pony Water Tower, and they go, oh, okay, they know right where it's at.
Went into service in 1915.
At 88 years old, it stopped pumping.
It hasn't held water for some time.
But discussions to tear it down 10 years ago
It can be expensive to keep up.
were met with the pulse of hometown pride.
Nobody wanted to see it go.
Osseo residents got the water tower listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
It's so cool to see communities say this is worth it to us.
A rhythm of revival
Water tower nerd would be
Stu Thornley
a good description.
can follow closely.
Oh yeah.
He's an educator with the State Health Department's drinking water program.
Started here in the 90s. I've climbed a few water towers. I believe there are 969 active water towers.
He says the desire to keep the old ones standing
And there's at least 50
runs
that are like this.
in Minnesota's veins.
And then it takes somebody to say, let's not tear it down. Let's see what we can do. Love the view and just love the adventure. And then you realize you can't think about a city without thinking about the water tower.
Minneapolis also didn't have the heart to demolish a tower unable to keep pace with modern times.
It goes back well into the 19th century.
Stu says upkeep can cost a city tens of thousands of dollars, usually in grants.
You've got to inspect it. And then once you have it, what does it keep standing? So there's a financial investment, there's a commitment to it.
Not every retired tower is destined to become a landmark. But the threat of absence
Not necessarily thinking about it until there's a reason to think about it.
can make a community grow fonder.
We'll get out at Marshall Avenue.
It was built in 1940.
Shakopee is circulating cash now
It serves the purpose for everybody.
to keep a tower you'd think would be on its last legs
We're not going to decommission it.
from flatlining.
In 1946, Popular Mechanics, they featured it in an article. Within the next 3 years, this will get reconditioned again, inside and out. We're going to keep it in service as long as we can. This is the one that we take pride of, right?
Holding on to a beaten history.
One of those marvels of engineering.
It's a thought that's constantly ticking for Stu,
Yep.
who's 1 year out from retirement himself.
My climbing days are over. They hold memories. They don't hold water, they hold memories.
Daily rhythms we hardly notice,
And we don't want that to go. I love tradition.
ending up at the heart
It's pride for cities,
of who we are.
saying, no, you know what? That tower means something to me.
That was Audrey Russo reporting. Over in Knoxville, a mentorship program is sparking the entrepreneurial spirit in young minds. Heather Waliga tells us how it is bringing real-world skills straight to the classroom, showing students that owning their own business is possible.
Pat down, y'all, just like this.
There's an art form
Try to get all of those bubbles out.
to making the perfect pizza.
That's perfect. And then put it around your knuckles like this and just slightly pull around in a circle.
And it starts with how you shape the dough.
You want to keep about 2 fingers of crust. All right, who's stretching next?
Quan Evans not only makes the food here,
Hard Knocks Pizza Central. This is Quan. How can I help you?
he now runs all 3 Hard Knocks Pizza locations in Knoxville. But nearly a decade ago, he was a shy high schooler with no interest in the restaurant business.
Yeah, professional.
Until someone saw something in him.
I was not interested in food at all. I wanted to do more like detailing, more like tech things. So she opened up the door for me, for sure.
She is Alexa Sponcia,
I saw something in Quan that I don't know if many people did.
the owner of Hard Knocks Pizza, who walked into Austin East High School one day and asked how she could help.
I was like, can I come in and be with your students and teach them? And like, what do you need?
She started the School of Hard Knocks, a class teaching students the ins and outs of the business, like how to prepare for interviews and apply for jobs, and how to believe in themselves.
I was not an A student. I asked the administrators to select the kids that are maybe struggling a bit or aren't a part of clubs or maybe left behind. I specifically want those kids because that was who I was.
Do you want one?
Now students at Gresham Middle School are getting a taste of the real thing to see what it's like in a real kitchen, rolling up their sleeves and putting their classroom skills to the test.
For them to be able to see that this is a very attainable potential future opportunity it's everything. It's so impactful for our students.
Learn anything about yourself? That I might want to open a business when I grow up.
And Quan,
Pepperoni.
he now teaches the very class that gave him his start,
And it means a lot to me because like this is the best position I could ask for.
helping the next generation find their path and be part of something bigger.
It's not about pizza. I just want these kids to feel really loved and cared for and that people showed up in the community for them.
Oh, I love that. That was Heather Waliga reporting. Now, school security guards' reach goes well beyond the hallways of one Iowa school. Reuben Moore works overtime to make sure the kids flourish even after graduation. Ava Hedges caught up with a former student who is praising him for his dedication and generosity.
Reuben has been a pillar in our community for a long time.
Tammy Trice says Reuben Moore works tirelessly to support at-risk youth in the Quad Cities.
Having Reuben be there for our kids has helped our kids stay on the right track.
Reuben has worked as a security guard in the Davenport School District for over 30 years.
I would hear this voice in the hallway always saying, "Get out my hallway. I don't care where you go, but you got to get out of here."
And keeping his hallways clear wasn't the only thing he was known for.
Everybody everybody remembers Ruben because he's always there for them.
Ruben also started a nonprofit organization called QC United, offering enrichment programs for at-risk youth, and holds an annual golf fundraiser, providing college scholarships for area students.
And that was one of the things that I couldn't afford.
Both of Tammy's girls went to college on Ruben's scholarship. LaToya Trice is one of Tammy's daughters who first met Ruben at Davenport North High School.
He's always taught us to be your genuine self, treat everyone with love and respect, and to just be who you are, and the world will make the way for you.
LaToya went to St. Ambrose University with the help of Ruben's scholarship, where she earned her bachelor's in psychology and is now the youth service manager at the MLK Center in Rock Island.
Just knowing that I've been able to be successful in my career and knowing that I have people like Ruben and my mother to help push me into the career path that I'm in, there's nothing more a greater feeling in the world.
His legacy?
If somebody helps you, you help somebody.
From the halls of Davenport School District to higher education and beyond.
Just appreciate it.
Ruben continues to change the lives of youth in the Quad Cities. In Davenport, Ava Hedges.
Alrighty, we have more for you ahead on Featured. Here's a sneak peek at what's coming up. Storytelling on a larger scale. We take you to an exhibit that is elevating the way we experience children's books. Plus, how the pediatrician is tapping into his creative side using these items. Stick around. All right, we've got a question for you this morning. Remember your favorite children's book? Well, Mama Privet used to have Dr. Seuss books mailed to the house, and I remember loving Are You My Mother? Go Dog Go. Good memories. Now, if you could literally jump inside the pages, would you? Well, there's an exhibit that is helping readers do just that in Maine. Samantha York takes us there to show us how.
Hi guys, it's Chris Van Dusen, author, illustrator of children's picture books.
It's one thing to have your favorite stories read to you by its author.
So let's read Hattie and Hudson. Hattie McFadden loved to explore. Every morning after breakfast, she'd grab her life jacket, wave goodbye to her parents, and paddle out in the canoe to see what she could see.
It's another to experience those stories like this.
This is probably what some of my very first notes writing the story.
At the Maine Maritime Museum in Bath.
You swapped it to that, right?
Yeah. I know that page changed around a lot.
Luke Gates-Millardo has spent months perfecting and bringing to life the Upon That Isle in Maine exhibit.
And so we had our incredible volunteer staff there. They were really excited to take this on.
A project dedicated to bringing the works of Chris Van Dusen to life, and one that could only be completed with the help of Chris himself.
I think I made 4 or 5 trips up to his studio in Camden, and every time I'd come away with another.
It was a big pillage every time they came, you know.
Yeah,
or no, I keep finding things like, oh guys, you should use this, and I'd pull this out of the closet or this.
Here you will find vintage drawings of Mr. McGee.
I would sometimes draw these little sketches, but this is a style I was using way back when I was doing magazine illustration.
There's a life-size version of the famous sea monster named Hudson.
It's so good. When I was first presented with these sketches, I was like, I don't know if this is going to come together. And then I get down here and it's like, oh my gosh, they really did it. There's a full-size lake monster poking out of the wall.
You can walk through a replica of Chris's workspace at his home in Camden.
Chris lent us, for example, that sea monster model there, which he used to start drawings for Hattie and Hudson. And so when you're looking around, you'll find things like that, the big truck, and also the vintage robots.
And I think kids will like this because it's sort of the seed of where things are created, you know, sort of the hub of where I work. And it's very accurate.
And explore not one, but 2 replicas of the notorious circus ship.
But you did a lot of different models, right? You did a lot of models.
Probably a dozen different models I made out of foam and wood and sketches. I actually held up my sketchbook last night and was like, okay, it's pretty close to my pencil
very
drawing.
close.
Yeah. Being here, seeing everything that's around you, it's your work, but it's like life size. What is it like for you?
It's kind of mind-blowing, actually. I didn't think this exhibit would be nearly this impressive. One of the things they have here in the exhibit is they have this magnetic board where kids can sort of figure out how a story is structured. So they've really thought about not only showing things that kids get excited about, like this great Lego circus ship, but also, you know, just kind of the whole craft and what goes into storytelling.
Kids will learn about storytelling and
so we have a video in front of us.
Can even learn how to draw Mr. McGee's dog, Dee.
Hold your paper like this,
Okay.
and it'll be really quick and easy, I promise.
Who did better? Not that it's a competition, because it's not. Mine comes apart, though. It's like a magic trick.
Yeah, so
Nice job.
that was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was Samantha York reporting. Now, a retired pediatrician swapped his stethoscope for something a little more creative. John Meyer takes us to Pennsylvania to show us how he is using his imagination to transform random objects into art.
It is an explosion of color on the walls of the Everhart Museum in Scranton, an exhibit displaying the artwork of Dr. Melvin Wolk.
It's fantastic. It looks so different on a white wall than in a room with screaming kids.
This is certainly an opposite setting to a busy pediatrician's office. That's where much of Dr. Wolk's work had its first audience. He practiced in Scranton for more than 30 years.
Well, I'm a big kid, so, playing with blocks and playing with marbles and putting these things together is wonderful.
When you look closely, you see those toys turned into tools to create these designs, but many other items too. This exhibit is called Found Objects, New Worlds, because it's all just stuff Wolk saw out and about.
Well, the title of this is Raindrops in the Garden.
He envisioned much more. Here, the flowers are tin discs from the hardware store, the stems, car exhaust pipes, the leaves, painted saws, buttons are the raindrops.
And from junkyards, I went to flea markets. From flea markets, I went to antique places and started collecting things that were very, very interesting to me, at least.
A stop at a junkyard is what started it all.
And I saw this piece, just like this, without the red, white, and blue added, okay? And I said, oh my God, this looks like a dog.
It became a piece titled Canine America.
I get very excited when I see something that I think I can formulate into an art piece.
His excitement began as decor for his young patients, maybe helping to soothe them while waiting for a shot, sick visit, or checkup. It continues 3 decades into his retirement, now in his 90s.
A lot of people have said that I have a very good imagination. Well, if that's what did it, then I'm very happy that I have it.
His work already had a big audience, thousands of patients and their parents. Now museum goers get a look and a smile. As for the artist,
oh, I'm busy. I can't wait to get back to my studio in the basement.
That was John Meyer reporting. It is time for a quick break, but first, let's take a look at what's coming up ahead. A 5-year-old calling out Qdoba for forgetting something she says was a necessity in her order. We'll tell you how the Mexican chain made it up to that young lady. And back from the dead, we'll show you how a doctor's prayer and a little bit of persistence helped save a life. All right, let's check out what's trending on social media. We could say justice was served for a 5-year-old in Colorado after a missing food order left her in tears. Take a look at this.
I'm very heartbroken, Qdoba, because you forgot my favorite sauce, guacamole.
Oh, look at that poor baby. She looks like the little girl from Wendy's, the old Wendy's icon. Let me know if you remember. Okay, now Storia's mother shared this little video of her tearful reaction on TikTok, which racked up more than 5 million views, and the comment section overflowed with support, like comments saying, "Tell me who I need to fight and I'll do it." Another one writing, "They have 24 hours to respond." Well, Qdoba heard the message loud and clear. The Mexican chain reached out to the 5-year-old's parents and did more than just deliver a side of guac. Little Astoria was invited to work behind the counter for a day at her local Qdoba. She was also given the appropriate title of Chief Guacamole Officer, which comes with all the guac her little heart desires. Now that is how you apologize. Look at the smile on her face. Shout out to Qdoba. All right, now, many of our family members, they never miss an opportunity to tell you about someone who knew you when you were just a little baby. I've heard that story a million times. Well, one family will have quite the story to share one day, but their little one hasn't even made it out the womb yet. Take a look at this. Check out this video. Beyonce, she noticed a fan sign in the crowd at her Cowboy Carter tour stop in New Jersey, and the camera zooms in on a paper that reads, Cowboy, with boy highlighted in blue. So that couple had their gender reveal in front of all of those folks at that concert. How cool is that? And Beyonce kept the paper. Now, this isn't the first time Beyonce has helped with the gender reveal on tour. Back in 2023, she paused her show in Germany when she saw a sign that said, do my gender reveal. Oh, I love that. All right, that's a wrap on Trending. Here's a look at what you can expect up next. Worth their weight. A woman gets a second chance to go to prom. I'll tell you why it took almost 50 years to have, okay, look at his moves. Plus, we're talking about puzzles. A puzzle enthusiast finds peace in puzzle pieces. Check out her massive collection straight ahead. With us here on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you some uplifting stories from across the country. This time we are starting off with a bit of a medical miracle in Texas. A man showed up to the ER with no heartbeat, but thanks to what he calls stubborn heroes, he is alive today. Ayana Aird shares his incredible story of survival.
You look a lot better than last time I saw you, boy.
Wednesday, Bo Rogers met the doctor that helped save his life.
I do believe that God performed a miracle.
April 6th started like any other day for Bo.
I remember working in my shop, and I began to have some discomfort in my chest.
As the discomfort progressed, he tried to drive himself to the hospital.
And had a conversation with God along the way, thanking him for the time he's given me with my family, and if this were my last day on earth, I was appreciative.
As his oxygen levels dropped, he called 911. Paramedics rushed to his aid, but just minutes after they arrived, Rogers lost consciousness, suffering from cardiac arrest. Once they arrived at Christus Good Shepherd in Longview,
we began to do everything in our power to restart his heart. Multiple medications, shocks, chest compressions, and yet despite everything that we were doing, nothing was working to start his heart back up.
For 40 minutes, there was no sign of his heart.
I began to pray for Bo and just ask for God to do a miracle in his life. And we had actually turned to our colleagues and decided that if he did not have a pulse on the next time that we did a pulse check, that we were going to actually declare him dead and stop our resuscitative efforts.
However, Dr. Tyler Strock said God had another plan for Bo.
In that moment, at that last pulse check, he did in fact have a pulse. And if that weren't a miracle enough,
Bo had no history of heart issues, and his survival without brain damage is what Dr. Strock calls extraordinary.
Most of the time, people who have a cardiac arrest for that long will normally have brain damage as a result of not getting enough blood flow to their brain from the chest compressions.
You know, I'm really thankful for stubborn heroes, people that don't give up. And in finding out that they're believers and they had prayed over me during this process, it really drives home the power of prayer.
Now Bo is focused on recovery and sharing his story.
I don't know why God chose me, a wretch, a sinner, to perform that miracle, but I believe it's my obligation to tell people about it as part of a testimony.
My goodness, 40 minutes without a heartbeat. That's crazy. Awesome job to that medical team there for not giving up on him. Now, we've all heard it before. You know, exercise is good for your health. It's almost a throwaway line, but it is true for a woman in North Carolina. She lost a significant amount of weight and ended up gaining so much more. Not weight, something else here. Sydney Moore shows us how she did it.
Sagewell Health and Fitness in Greensboro isn't just a gym. It's where people go to take control of their health. But for 70-year-old Corinne Maddox,
it really all started with my best friend.
This place saved her life.
The trainers here are always available.
She began going to the facility 3 days a week. Now she goes 5 days a week.
Anywhere between an hour and an hour and a half.
She didn't start exercising just for fun. It became a necessity.
I was diagnosed as morbidly obese. I was diabetic, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. It was awful.
Years ago, Maddox weighed 200 pounds. She struggled to do everyday tasks.
Walk about 10 feet and my legs would just give out. They didn't want to go any further. And at that time, we were pretty active traveling and stuff like that, and I had to travel in a wheelchair.
Spending time with family also became a challenge.
I have 5 grandchildren that I love to hang out with and do things with, and I couldn't.
She hit rock bottom.
I didn't know where to go, who to turn to, but I hit that wall and said something's going to change.
And that's the kind of mentality Maddox and health experts say is all it takes to hit the gym.
I think exercise is something people have anxiety about, and the best way to get through that anxiety is by working through it with professionals in any capacity that's possible, whether that's a group fitness class, whether that's personal training, however it may be.
Patrick Westervelt is a health and fitness specialist with Cone Health. He says exercising can help with daily activities.
It's going to not only prolong your life, but it's going to keep you able to do the things that you want to do, such as seeing the world, traveling in general, grandkids, your own kids.
Because of the hard work and dedication Maddox has put in, she's now down to 135 pounds, no longer diabetic, and does not have high cholesterol.
I started my journey at 67, and in 3 years, I think I've come a long way.
She keeps going. Even knee surgery a year ago didn't set her back.
I walk, I run.
Because a healthy lifestyle remains her priority.
That was Sydney Moore reporting. Now, a band is jamming out at a senior center in Portland. Get a look at this. The group is finding joy while playing the ukulele. Catherine Cook shows us how they are proving it is never too late to learn something new.
Come on, Freds.
It's the sound one generally associates with getting away. But at the Community for Positive Aging in Northeast Portland, there's no other place this group would rather be. Getting here was a journey in itself for Karen Zinizer.
I'm still learning because I'm not that great at this point.
About 12 years ago, Karen heard a friend play the ukulele. It impressed and inspired her.
She had never played any music just like me. And she was playing for 6 months, and she was making a song and singing. And I thought, well, I should try. I mean, if she could do it, I could try.
And then it hit her. Why not bring others along for the ride?
And that's when she said, I've got an idea.
The Hollywood Ukulele Group was born.
There are some days I can't believe that I'm involved with this.
Karen's husband, Keith Buckley, leads the group.
Well, it's been a while since we've done this one.
He's a lifelong musician and toured with several Portland bands for years. Then Meniere's syndrome took hold of Keith's inner ear.
So I couldn't stand. My balance was off. And so my electronic music was over.
He'd been trying to find his way back to music when Karen offered him a gig.
She gave me the opportunity to be the music leader in the group.
The group meets every Tuesday morning in the Hollywood district. There's usually a couple dozen people. Karen says it's never too late to join them.
We have, she calls herself a beginner across the room here, who is 95 years old. And she comes every week and she's having a great time.
You need to keep connected. You need to stay active. And sometimes people don't know how to do that.
Lynn Shemervalou is with Multnomah County's Aging, Disability, and Veteran Services. They team up with groups like this one to help seniors thrive.
Doesn't have to mean the end, doesn't have to mean a downward spiral. It can mean all sorts of great things. It can mean finding new community.
Turned out, the thing that I did not expect was the friendships and the community that we formed.
Call it improvisation.
You guys don't count.
There's a lot of that here. Rule number 1, sing along if you know the words.
Rule 2 is if you don't know the lyrics, make some up. Let's sing along anyhow, right?
It's true. No one here is looking to get away. But when the music starts, that's exactly what happens.
It ends up being like a musical river that we all enjoy going along for the ride.
In Northeast Portland, Catherine Cook.
That was Catherine Cook reporting. Now, you know, prom, it's a rite of passage. It marks a memorable milestone for many high school seniors, but a woman in Texas wasn't able to attend hers. Sean Giggy shows us how she got a second chance nearly 50 years later.
66-year-old
Oh my goodness.
Debbie Jordan is getting ready for a date.
Yeah, I am.
A date she thought would never happen. One she's waited for nearly 50 years.
I'm thankful that somebody had me on their heart to choose me to be a part. Yeah.
Her tears of joy made possible by tears of sorrow.
Ooh, y'all, I'm nervous.
48 years ago, Debbie missed out on her senior prom. Her mom worked 3 jobs, but with 6 kids, couldn't afford to send her. Something Debbie understood, but also lamented.
It was sad. Yeah, it was sad.
Debbie is a woman of faith, which is why even long after high school, she believed God might do something to reconcile her absence at prom. And after nearly 5 decades, still nothing. Until recently, Debbie saw a flyer outside her apartment here at Juliet Fowler Communities inviting residents to a senior prom. Organized by the staff, the Forever Young Prom was a gift to the community's senior residents. And Debbie wasn't the only one going to prom for the first time.
No.
Maple Harris never went.
I did not. When I went to school, there was no prom.
Same for Ruth Isaac.
No prom.
For all of them, it was well worth the wait. Debbie made the most of her second chance and was even nominated for prom queen.
Miss Carol Jenkins!
And although she didn't come away with the crown, she says everyone was treated like royalty.
It's good for me to know that we haven't been forgotten, even though we might be old.
You know, they care a lot for us.
To be a part of anything like this.
For most, prom marks the end of an educational journey.
And I'm truly grateful. I'm thankful.
But for Debbie Jordan, it's just the beginning of a dream come true. In Dallas, I'm Sean Giggy.
Okay, they're playing a little James Brown, but did you guys peep that one guy who was moving like James Brown? I saw his footwork. Glad to see all those folks had smiles on their faces, and they were looking fantastic. Great story from Sean Giggy. Now, don't go too far. We are taking a short break, but here is a quick look at what's coming up. Check this out. A longtime trash truck driver gets a top honor. We'll tell you why his coworkers say he deserves it. Welcome back. You know, it is so important to recognize the everyday neighborhood heroes whose everyday actions make our communities better. Jeff Zavallet introduces us to a trash truck driver in San Diego who is being honored for his dedication, safety, and service.
At 72 years old, Tony Carranza is working a 10-hour shift. He's been driving for Republic Services for 42 years.
I love this job because I have a lot of nice customers.
Earlier this month, Tony and his wife took their very first trip to Las Vegas with all expenses paid.
National Residential Driver of the Year is Antonio Carranza from Republic Services.
The National Waste and Recycling Association named Tony Driver of the Year. With this award, they also gave you a set of keys.
For my new truck.
Tony will get to drive this brand new $700,000 electric-powered trash truck until he retires. What is it about Tony you think that makes him stand out?
Tony's a very humble guy. He's a leader amongst his peers.
Manny Marquez from Republic Services says Tony is also generous, passing out toys and coloring books to kids.
It's awesome. What a great person that we have representing us.
We work for our community.
When Tony started this job at 30 years old, he had to pick up the trash cans by hand.
When I started, it was hard.
His truck does the heavy lifting now. He took me on a ride-along where I could see firsthand how nimble he has to be, weaving a 33-foot trash truck in and out of tight spaces.
They think it's an easy job until they find out it's not.
Two things that would really help Tony out. Leave a little space between your trash cans. And when you pull out of your driveway, be careful. Take a look at what happened during our ride-along. Just when Tony was telling me how careful he has to be.
He's not even look.
Oh, wow!
He's not even they don't pay attention, see?
That car came out of nowhere, backed out of the driveway, never even saw the trash truck. And Tony, he was on it. Now I know why you're the driver of the year. If ever Tony could have talked trash, this would have been it. Instead, he just smiled, said,
I love it. I love my job.
Is this the best job you've ever had?
It will be the best and the last one.
Up top. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
Yes, that's what everybody says.
In the Zevely zone, Jeff Zevely.
All right, now check this out. A very scary moment in the sky unfolded. A plane malfunctioned mid-air. Woo. Matt Harrowan takes us to the Arlington airport where a pilot had to make an emergency landing with no wheels. Yikes.
The runway ready. The skies clear for takeoff. But something missing during this landing at Arlington Municipal Airport last week.
When we put the gear down, we got a loud bang.
The landing gear.
You get the sound, this is probably not going to be good.
It didn't matter. Pilot Tony Williams puts the bird down on its belly flawlessly.
It was still a good call, and I would do it again for sure.
And he wasn't alone.
I was sitting in the right seat with Tony.
Co-pilot Ben Taylor also in the cockpit.
I've had some scary things happen, but never anything close to that.
Williams from San Diego, a former airline pilot with 39 years of flying experience. Taylor.
He held my hand through the whole thing, so to speak.
Just 19, from North Texas. The pair had never flown together before, test flying this twin-engine Cessna, hoping to fly it to Pennsylvania to a new owner. But when a wheel wouldn't deploy on the landing gear.
They advised us that the landing gear appeared in the up position on the left side of the aircraft.
Williams asked for foam on the runway for an emergency landing, mainly to prevent a fire, and
the smoother I could make the landing, the less impact it would have to our bodies.
The pair circled, then committed.
It was smoother than most of my landings with wheels.
Our helicopter nearby catching it all on camera.
It looked really good. It even impressed me.
The plane may never fly again, but this, not luck, the pair says.
We just handled it how you should.
We're just focused on just getting the job done.
Just knowing what to do when luck runs out. In Arlington, I'm Matt Howerton.
Well, the both of them were much more calmer than I would have been. Glad to see that they made it off the plane safely. Woo. All right, coming up next on Featured. Is it an obsession or just a hobby? We check out a puzzle collection so massive. Get this, a Minnesota family had to buy a new house just to make room. All right, do you have the patience to put together a 20,000 piece puzzle? I don't know, I do enjoy puzzles, but not that much. Boyd Huber takes us to Minnesota to meet a woman who is taking the hobby to some new heights. Check this out.
Life can be a puzzle sometimes, or all the time.
This is where it starts.
If you're Linda Grosskreitz.
First thing I do is usually do edge pieces.
Then
I'll do a 1,000-piece puzzle in a day.
the next day, she might do another and another.
For me, it's relaxing.
So many puzzles on shelves.
I don't know.
Linda's lost count.
Well, I know I have 35 Amy Stewarts.
And that's just one puzzle creator.
And this one came from my father-in-law. He thought he would stump me with the world's most difficult jigsaw puzzle, but I got it done in one day.
I don't have the patience.
Husband Jeff.
I'd rather go watch the football game or something.
Did buy Linda 38 puzzles for their 38th anniversary.
I think it's her piece.
But with room at home for only so many pieces, why not?
I started the Mankato Puzzle Library about 3 years ago. It just gives everybody more of a chance to find more puzzles.
And who doesn't need more?
I've done that one. I've done that one.
Have you done that one?
Yes.
Have you done that one?
Mm-hmm.
We all have something that we enjoy more than everything else.
It's not any different than spending 4 or 5 hours at a time on the lake fishing.
Fishing, then mounting.
Yeah.
Your trophies.
This is 9,000 pieces. This was my first large puzzle.
Linda's first.
Yeah, that one's 5,000 pieces.
Was not her last.
I did this one right after the Twin Towers came down. I went online and ordered it. This puzzle's 18,000 pieces. It was a gift from a distant relative in Germany.
Then,
yeah,
on she went.
18,000 pieces. I think this one probably took me 6 months, maybe. We ran out of walls that were big enough, and one day Jeff goes, well, you know, we could split it and put it around the corner. It's 24,000 pieces. This puzzle has its own website.
Where Linda is pictured as the first Minnesotan to put together what was, at the time, the world's largest puzzle. Till it wasn't.
This puzzle is 40,320 pieces. It's a little over 22 feet long.
The box weighed 44 pounds.
And it came in 10 bags.
The Grosskreitzes bought their new house to fit it.
What throws realtors off is when you say, well, we're looking for particular wall space for large puzzles.
I knew I didn't have room for this one.
Room on the wall, room on her shelves, room for the rest of Linda's life.
You go to the old folks' homes, there's always puzzles there, so I'll bring my collection when I go.
Boyd Huber, Madison Lake.
Wow, that woman's better than me. 1,000-piece puzzle in one day? No, I bought a calm puzzle a couple years ago. I can tell you it's still sitting in my closet somewhere, not completed. Maybe that'll inspire me to get started on it this weekend. All right, now that is it for Feature today. We had a lot of great stories, and I hope you found just a little something to inspire you today, or something that simply made you smile. Thank you for joining us here. Until next time, make it a great one.